Hi everyone, I'm Steven.
I'm Minnie.
And welcome to Enjoy English School. And we're going to continue talking about book club. The date is October 8th, continuing with pages 18 to 21.
那我们今天要延续昨天的这个好书俱乐部。那10月8号的部分呢，在18到21页。
Okay. The title, once again, is A Mango-Shaped Space, the story of a girl who experiences a world where numbers have colors and people are a mystery.
那我们今天要接续昨天讲的这个芒果猫联觉人的独特世界。那还记得这个故事，它是在讲一个女孩子，然后她体验所有的数字跟文字会发光啊，然后可能还会有一些感受，然后这是一个很让人着迷的一个世界。
Right, let's find out more about this story. In the story, Mia meets a psychologist who helps her come to terms with her synesthesia.
那在这个故事里面呢，米娅她遇到一位帮助她接纳自己联觉这样子症状的一个心理学家。
Right, so a psychologist is usually someone who will diagnose you with like a mental disorder or a condition. So that's what a psychologist is.
那这个 psychologist 这个字呢，我们说它是一个心理学家，是帮助你可能更了解自己的一个诊断一个疾病的情况这样子。
Diagnose, OK， 就是
诊断。
D-I-A-G-N-O-S-E，diagnose， 然后如果是名词是 diagnosis，OK， 就是 D-I-A-G-N-O-S-I-S。OK， 那我们刚刚说的 mental disorder 中文就是
精神疾病。
精神疾病。那如果是听到 psychiatrist，OK， 这个是拼P-S-Y-C-H-I-A-T-R-I-S-T. Psychiatrist and psychologist. What's the difference? A lot of people, even who speak English as a native language, aren't very sure. A psychologist is someone who will just diagnose you with this mental disorder, and a psychiatrist is someone who might do the same thing, but they're able to prescribe you drugs.
那刚刚我们有说这个心理学家，他可能是帮你做一个诊断啊，让你更了解你这些情况。但如果是这个 psychiatrist， 那他有可能就是可以给你一些药物啊，给你一些协助，甚至安排你到可能心理医生那边去聊聊啊之类的。一个不一样的医生。
Right, and then we have therapist, okay? T-H-E-R-A-P-I-S-T, okay? And a therapist is someone you go to when you usually need to talk about a lot of issues. They don't necessarily have to say a lot of things back to you. They might give you advice, but it's a little bit different from psychologists and psychiatrists where they just, let you talk. Sometimes you might not need a mental disorder to talk to a therapist. You can just be anybody. And like a lot of people go see therapists just to talk about what's on their mind.
那 therapist 这个字呢，它就是比较像我们刚刚有提到的心理医生的部分。那他可能不会给你开药，你也可能不需要透过什么诊断才可以找他，但是他就是一个你可以疏通的管道，让你去聊聊，有点像是各位辅导室的老师这样。
Right, and sometimes they all work hand in hand.
他们都一起在合作工作，然后帮助大家变得更健康。
Exactly. Okay, in the same sentence we see come to terms with. That means come to accept, okay? Like 接受。
接纳、接受。
Exactly, come to accept. Okay, on a website for people with the same problem, Mia meets a boy with the condition.
那在一个就是同样遭遇同样问题的人们的这样子的一个网站上面呢，米娅她遇到了一个有相同症状的一个男孩。
However, he proves to be mean and unhelpful when Mia is dealing with a sad situation.
但当米娅她面临一个令人难过的情况的时候呢，却证明了这个男孩啊，他是一个恶毒又毫无帮助的一个人。
Right, so proves to be. When someone proves to be something, that means that they show that they are that way. Okay, there's evidence showing that they are a certain way. So in this situation, he proves to be mean, and that's with evidence that maybe he doesn't say nice things to Mia or he makes fun of her. That's what it means to be mean.
那 prove prove 这个字它是动词，代表的是证明的意思，所以它证实了 proves to someone 或证实了某一件事情，坐实了某件事情，我们就可以用这个 prove。那还有另外一个大家可能常见的 proof 是 proof，proof。那它这个 proof 就有点像是我们的证明，但它是名词的证明。
Right. Okay. And mean this adjective in Chinese because it's very
刻薄的，
刻薄。
mean， 那 mean 它有好多意思 ，mean 有好多意思，它可以是意指啊，然后有可能是就像我们刚刚讲形容词刻薄，如果这个人对你很刻薄，讲很酸、很讨人厌的话，那他就是很 mean。
它就是有点像亲切 nice 的
相反，
没错。Okay, and here we see dealing with a sad situation. In yesterday's lesson, we said that 就是你 face 一个 sad situation.
面对。
Later, Mia makes friends with a classmate who is colorblind.
那在这个故事发展之后呢，米娅她跟一个有色盲的同学成为朋友。
Okay, and here we could say Mia becomes friends with a classmate. Then you can also use the verb make friends. Okay? Thanks to this friendship, Mia learns that everyone experiences the world differently.
那多亏了这个有色盲的这个朋友，所以米娅她认识到每个人都用不同的方式去体验这个世界。哇哦
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
然后这个句子的前面它有写 Thanks to this friendship. 对，这个意思不是很像真的去感谢这个友情，而是还借由这个友情这个意思。
多亏了这段友情。
Everyone experiences the world differently, and they do. And I think it's good that Mia finds somebody who lets her realize that this world is not just about, it's okay to be different, basically, because even though she has this condition, synesthesia, she meets someone who's colorblind. In his world, with his condition, maybe he has some hardships and difficulties as well. But it's good to have each other to be support for each other.
所以是米娅在她的这个旅程、这个 life journey 里面体验到的东西，我觉得很珍贵哦。老师也同意很珍贵，因为每个人都不一样啊，每个人看这个世界，去揣摩一件事情的方法也都不一样。那我们要的其实就是 respect.
Exactly, respect each other. Okay, let's take a short break. All this time, Mia is worried that the colors will never return.
那这一段期间以来，米娅她都担心着这些色彩不会再回来了。
Right, so starting out this paragraph with all this time, it's a really good transition, okay? Because it's kind of pulling us back to the situation where Mia has lost her abilities to see these colors, okay? At first, she didn't want this ability anymore, but now she kind of misses it. And we talked about that with yesterday's lesson. So a lot of times when you have a new paragraph, it's a good time for you to kind of bring the subject back to what it was originally. And before this paragraph, it was kind of giving more background information of what's happening to her, okay? So this is a good way to be like, during this time, all this time, she's still worried about this situation. Bring us back to the main point.
那在这边 all this time 它是一个非常好的一个开头的句子，就把我们再拉回这个故事，因为我们昨天其实有提到说 Mango 在最后他悲剧的就是过世了嘛，那跟着 Mango 过世的还有 Mia 她这种能力。那刚刚我们又交代了一些背景啊，故事背景。那我们这个 all this time 又把各位读者呢拉回来到这个故事里面。他在 Mango 死去之后，然后没有了这个能力之后，他开始想念了他这样的能力。
Right. Her psychologist is unsuccessful in helping her recover this part of herself.
那他的那个心理学家呢，无法顺利的帮助他 recover 重新拾回他那个部分的自己。
So when we say is unsuccessful in doing something, and that means that you're unable to do it, okay? You're not successful doing this situation. So pay attention to that grammar. Is unsuccessful in, and a verb with ing form, or if they're successful in doing something, let's say I am successful in doing my homework. Okay, 我成功地做我的功课。Okay, so that's how you use that grammar.
那这个成功跟不成功的这个文法的使用，成功我们就用 successful， 那如果不成功，我们就在 successful 前面加 un 的字首。那记得后面的这个介系词要用 in， 那在 in 的后面呢，我们需要用动名词 ving 来表达你成功或不成功做什么事情。
It is not until Mia's neighbor's cat has kittens that Mia starts to return to her former self.
哇，这个句子好棒哦！它用 It is not until 开头，意思就是说呢，直到 Mia 的邻居生了小猫以后，这是一个故事背景，交代说他的这个状况，一直到邻居的猫生小猫之后，他才开始回返从前的自己。
而且有听到 Minnie 老师有强调这个从那边开始，对不对？其实，在英文他强调这个是用 that，OK，所以那个整个文法是 It is not until A，that B，OK，一直到就是 A 这个事情发生 ，B 才怎么样怎么样，OK，so it is not until A that B。
这个也是多益常考的句子之一哦。
And what is a kitten? A kitten is a baby cat.
小猫。
小猫。
奶猫。
然后这里看一下那个 Mia 跟 neighbor 两个后面都是撇 s 嘛，对不对？就是 Mia 的 neighbor 邻居的猫 ，OK， 所以可以有两个字是这样子，就是有两个 apostrophe s，OK，比较少见，但是还是有，在那个情况是需要的话，
对
，you can use it. And who is her former self? So first self is self is what?
就自己
的意思 right? So herself. 但是 former 呢 what does that mean?
之前的
So another word that we can use here instead of former, we could say her previous self.
先前的 previous.
Previous. Her previous self. So these both can be used. Like Mango, one of the kittens makes a sound that appears to have a mustard yellow color to Mia.
那就跟芒果一样，其中一只小猫它会发出一种的声响，一种声音。那在 Mia 看起来呢，它就会突然间有一种感觉，显现了一种芥末的那种黄色。
So mustard yellow 就是芥末，像芥末的黄色那种感觉。Appears to have 的意思是什么 ？So the kitten makes a sound that appears to have a mustard yellow color， 就是似乎很像有这个样子。
显现出。
Appears to have. And when I say the word kitten, okay, some people might say kitten, okay, with a hard T sound because there are two T's. But a lot of times when we have very hard sounds like that in English, especially if it's in the middle of the word, we might make it very soft, like kitten. Kitten. 有点 k 往外，然后 n 是往内收 kitten 这样子。So that's a very common pronunciation of words like that, like little, okay? 很多人会说 little.It's very little, but little 也可以，就是往内收那种感觉。
所以两个 tt 放在字的中间的时候，这个读音可以稍微再揣摩一下。但是两个都是对的吗？
两个都是对 ，both are correct. Usually, though, in a more natural sense, we would be like kitten rather than kitten. Okay, 比较难念啦，这样子。如果是很重的那个 t 声音。She adopts the kitten and names it Mustard.
所以呢，他就 adopt 领养了这只小猫，然后就把它命名成芥末。
She then fixes her relationships with other people.
然后猫咪很神奇哦，养了芥末之后呢，它就开始也修复了与他人的关系。
Right, so fix 我们知道 in Chinese is
维修修理。
Right, so you can actually fix a car.
It's like repair.
Repair, repair, R-E-P-A-I-R.
Or mend.Or
mend, M-E-N-D. Repair means that this thing broke, that you have to make it work again, so you repair it. Mend is more like if this thing broke a little bit, it's still working, but you're just going to fix it a little bit on the outside. So mend sounds a little bit less dramatic than repair because it makes the person think that maybe it's not so broken.
所以 M-E-N-D mend 这个是感觉好像一点点小错误或一点点小洞，像 mend socks 的感觉。对，修补你的袜子或修补外套那种破洞。
对，你本来还可以穿嘛。
对，那如果是 repair 的话，它就比较是坏掉了，又从坏掉的把它重新维修成好的那种比较大的改变。
Right, and fix 就是他们两个的中间的感觉。对，所以其实 fix 跟 repair 比较常会有一点两个都可以用的感觉。然后 fix 呢，我的另外一个重点是，除了说就是一些机器啊，还是车子什么之类那种要修的东西，
抽象的也可以，
也可以是 relationship， 像这种抽 抽象的东西，所以可以用 fix her relationship with other people. All right, let's take a short break. A mango-shaped space is an inspiring story about how our differences both divide and connect us.
那芒果猫这个故事呢，是关于我们与众不同之处会如何分歧及连结你我，发人一个省思的这样子一个故事。
Okay, so what is an inspiring story? This adjective means that it gives people a very positive feeling, okay? It gives people a feeling that they can do anything, okay? It gives them a lot of motivation. motivation. Motivation in Chinese is
就是一个让你有激励你的动力，我们就叫做 motivation。那刚刚老师有讲这个 inspiring 啊，这个字其实就是任何你只要读了之后，你会觉得哇，很突然间心里燃起一道火，我要好好努力，或者是读完之后你会觉得哇，心里暖暖的，那这就是一种很 inspiring、很激励人心的。
Right， 它的名词是 inspiration，okay， inspiration，然后再加一个 al， 如果是它形容词 inspirational，okay， 你可以讲一个人是一个 inspiration，wow， you are an inspiration， 你真的让我觉得我什么都可以做得到。She is an inspiration, so you can use that to describe a person.Okay, so divide, it means separate, okay, 分开, and connect us could also be keep us together.
连结两个人的意思。
Right, so you could say how our differences both separate and keep us together. Right, let's continue. Mia struggles with her synesthesia when it most affects her and when it begins to fade.
那米娅在联觉影响她最深，以及她当这个联觉刚开始消逝的时候，都有经历过一个搏斗的这个历程。
Okay, so affect someone means 影响到他。And when something starts to fade, it means it starts to go away gradually.
Fade 就有点像是慢慢的退去的那种感觉，越来越淡的感觉。We say fade.
Right, in Taiwan we say fade out.
对，
就是这个 fade, okay, starts to go away. 慢慢的 go away.
对。
In the end, she learns to accept herself as she is.
所以到最后就是最重要的那一堂课，她开始学会了 accept 接纳她自己最真实的那个样貌。
Okay, so in the end is a very good way to say 最后. Okay, because a lot of people in Chinese, they might say finally she learns to accept herself as she is. 因为我们学到 finally 就是最后面 right? 但是在这个情况，因为他讲一个整个故事的最后面，比较适合放 in the end. Okay, so in the end, she learns to accept herself. What does it mean to accept yourself?
就代表说完全的接纳自己，不再讨厌自己了。
接受自己，你就算有一些缺点还是什么
It's okay. Those are cute.
You have to accept your flaws. Okay, flaws, F-L-A-W, 复数加个 s. Flaw 是
你的一些小瑕疵。
瑕疵，没错。She also learns to let the people who accept her into her life.
那她也开始学到了让接纳她的人进入到她的生命里面。
Right, so learns to let people. 很多人在台湾会说 let， 因为他们想到让，他可能会用 make 这个字 ，I make him do it。OK， 但 make 其实
有点被逼的感觉哦。
他一直是逼人家去做这个事情，所以不要让 make 当成让，要把 let 当成让。She learns to let the people who accept her into her life。她学习如何让这些接受她的人再进入她的生命。所以不要忘记了，我常常听到人家会说 make， 不是让，是 let someone do something. Okay? All right, let's go to the review. All right, Minnie 老师, who is a psychologist?
那就是心理学家。
Okay, so what if they're a psychiatrist?
Psychiatrist 他是精神病医师，可能是开药的啊。
And who is a therapist?
Therapist 他是你的心理医师，陪你聊聊天。你不一定要有什么情况，你只要想要抒发的管道都可以找他。
So these people might work hand in hand to help you come to terms with your condition. What is come to terms with something?
Come to terms with 就是让你去接纳你自己，然后让你去舒缓压力，接纳接受自己。
Okay, so these things might prove to be useful to you. What does prove to be useful mean?
就是代表说我要去证实、证明的意思。
证明这些东西有帮助，
对，
right?
证明。
Who is a mean person?
就是 very evil， 就是很刻薄、很恶劣的人，我们就说 mean person。
反正不是一个亲切的人。
反正不是我啦。
Yeah, you're right. Someone who's, always picking on other people, that's a mean person, right? Me. So what if I am unsuccessful in doing something?
那就是你无法成功、无法顺利的做什么事情，记得介系词要用 in 哦。
Right, so I might need to listen to an inspiring story.
所以你就有可能要去听一个很启发人心、激励人心的故事。
These stories might affect me in a good way.
Affect 我们在这边当作是动词，也就是影响的意思。
Okay, and we can never let our hope fade. What is it,
所以我们
fade?
绝对不可以让我们的希望慢慢消逝。Fade fade 就是消失，fade out 就是坐电梯慢慢下去了。
Right, and I need to always learn to let good people into my life. What is let good people into my life?
所以你要学着让这些好人接纳这些好人来到你的生命里面。
Right, exactly. All right, hope you guys learned a lot today, and thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
拜拜。
第20页，好书俱乐部，芒果猫，联觉人的独特世界。
A mango-shaped space. In the story, Mia meets a psychologist who helps her come to terms with her synesthesia. On a website for people with the same problem, Mia meets a boy with the condition. However, he proves to be mean and unhelpful when Mia is dealing with a sad situation. Later, Mia makes friends with a classmate who is colorblind. Thanks to this friendship, Mia learns that everyone experiences the world differently. All this time, Mia is worried that the colors will never return. Her psychologist is unsuccessful in helping her recover this part of herself. It is not until Mia's neighbor's cat has kittens that Mia starts to return to her former self. Like Mango, one of the kittens makes a sound that appears to have a mustard yellow color to Mia. She adopts the kitten and names it Mustard. She then fixes her relationships with other people. A mango-shaped space is an inspiring story about how our differences both divide and connect us. Mia struggles with her synesthesia when it most affects her and when it begins to fade. In the end, she learns to accept herself as she is. She also learns to let the people who accept her into her life.